Hi everybody, it's Joanne from Huckleberries, and I am going to show you how to do what I call any season charm quilt. So this is my Christmas one, and if you can see, it's only 2 fabrics for the frame. And then this is my Halloween one. You might have seen it at the store already. And it's only 2 colors around, but scrappy in the middle. Okay. So for the scrappy one, we use a full charm for both of them. And the scrappy one is 20 of the squares in the middle. So it's 4 by 5. And I just use scraps from my scrap bins. So for each square, you need 2 5-inch by 1.5 inch strips on the side, and then 2 7-inch by 1.5 inch on the top and bottom. So this is going to be all in the instructions, and the instructions are available when you purchase a charm pack, or you can see them at our website. Okay, and then on the outside, I framed this with 22 of the squares in black and white. So, and the mounts and everything. So for this, it's 0.3 of white and 0.3 of black, and then these are just scraps. Okay. And then for the Christmas one, you can see they're all either framed in black or framed in red. And for this one, you need 0.6 meters of red, 0.6 meters of black, and you need all of the charms in a 42 pack. So some packs only have 40, so make sure you have enough squares. When I take the charm pack apart, I want to separate them in 2 even piles for this one, and I want to put all the black in for red frames and all the red in for black frames, and then after that I equally disperse them. So I put some blue in with the black frames and some blue in with the red frames, and same with the green ones. I have some green with black frames and green with red frames, but you don't want to frame this in black, right? Okay, so let's go down to cutting. So with the framing fabric, you want to cut 1.5 inch strips of your black and 1.5 inch strips of the white. And for that, you're going to cut, let's see, 8 white, 8 black. Okay. And then for the red and black, it's more, it's going to be 14 strips total of red, 14 of the black, and 7 are going to be cut one way and 7 of the other way of each group. Okay, so I'm just going to show you why it's important how to cut these. So because we need so many 5-inch, so we need 2 for each square, and we need 2 7-inch. Now all strips aren't always going to be a usable 42 inches, and this one happens just to be usable. So there's 21 inches folded, so that's 42. So I could do 7 7 7, but I'm going to assume that not all fabric is like that, and that's why I have them separated into 2 piles. So I cut my black strips. I now have 8 black strips. I'm going to put 4 in one pile and 4 in the next pile. Okay. And this is going to be on your instructions. So either with it's the red or the black or the white, you want to separate them into 2 piles. That's not very good. And I didn't quite cut that off. So that's actually a good thing to do, is when you cut these, make sure you're getting all of that selvage off. See, I didn't quite get that. And that's why it's not always a usable 42. I'm just going to double check this one. Good. Okay, so equal piles of one color. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut 7 7 5 and 7 5 5. So you can use your Stripology ruler for this, and when I do that, I just pile them up really nicely like that. And then I would use my big one, and then I do my cuts. So, but again, one pile is going to be 775, and one pile is going to be 755. Okay, now I'm going to use my little ruler here. Make sure that you're using it when it starts at 1, because there's only a 1/2 inch there, and that would screw you up, right? Like if I thought that was 7, that wouldn't be big enough. So make sure you have it in the right direction, and I'm going to use my glasses for this. Okay, so we're going to go 7, and this is folded, so I'm getting 2 every time I cut. 7. Oops. I need to clean my board or get a new blade, but I think I need to clean my board. And 5. And then that's my little leftover. Okay, and then this one, I'm going to do 7. And then 5. And then 5. Okay, now you see we have quite a bit there. But again, that's just cautionary. You will have lots, but you also have, if you make a mistake, you're okay. Okay, so I'm going to pile all my 7s in one, and then all my 5s. And if you follow that, then you will have enough to do the 42 blocks. And then when we piece these, I just want to show you that these peaks and valleys of charm packs aren't always the same. And you can see on these ones, they're bigger. So you have an option of either to trim those out, like you could take your mini square and then you would just line that up with the 5. This is a great one for this. And you would trim off those little at the 5 inch. That's not very good. This isn't quite a whole charm, but you can see I would trim those off, these little teeth. With the Moda, I find their teeth aren't that big, but with these they are. But I'm also confident not trimming them, and I can see how much I leave at the top. So whatever you feel comfortable with. Okay, so we take the first one, and we're gonna sew these all, my black pile, or my white, or my red. So I'm gonna sew all the 5 inch to one side. Okay. And then it's gonna look like this. And then I press them out, and then I'm gonna sew the 7 inch to here, press them out, and that's gonna give me this block. Ta-da! Now, when you do these, you want to alternate your colors. So I have blues and I have oranges. So I'm going to put my blues here, and then my orange here, and then my blue. What I'm not going to do though, you can see that the short piece is on the top. For the opposite color, I'm going to put the short piece on the side and then top, and then again it would be on the sides. Okay, so alternate colors, but also alternate where that short piece is. So short pieces here, short pieces here, short pieces here. And then you sew them together. And there's 6 in a row, and there's 7 rows. So that's 42 squares. Okay. So I'll just go over that again. So 1 charm pack. And then if you're doing the Scrappy Halloween, you need 0.35 meters of black, 0.35 meters of white. That's that. And then you're gonna subcut them into 8 white, 8 black, and then that's when you split them 4 white, 4 black, and cut them 7, 7, 5, and 5, or 7, 5, 5. Okay. And then for this, where you frame them all, 1 charm pack again, and you're gonna need 0.6 red, 0.6 black, and then you're going to cut them into 14 1.5 inch strips of red, 14 1.5 strips of black, and then you separate those into piles of 7, 7, and again cut 7, 7, and 5 inches, and then 7 inches, 5 inches, 5 inches. Okay, Very easy. Ta-da!